Lights. How about using lights as a puzzle in your escape room? Lights, to a certain extent, are in every escape room, but you can do some really cool stuff by working lights as a puzzle in your game, and your players will never suspect it. In day 15, I'm going to show you how you can use lights as a puzzle in your DIY escape room. My name is Celeste, and I am the owner-operator of Escape from Reality by Golden Key Games, and this is day 15 of your 31 days of puzzles for your DIY escape game. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways that I have used lights in my escape rooms and how you can too. Lights, believe it or not, can be more for just illuminating the room. A lot of escape rooms use lights in creative ways to set the mood or the environment of the game. Because there are so many different kinds of lights, brightness and shapes and colors, etc., there are so many ways you can use them. Specifically, strings of holiday lights are particularly useful when making a puzzle. Okay, my first example is one that I did in the Halloween room one year. This Halloween room, the theme was you had to escape the party, the Halloween party. So it was decorated like a party. And I had strings of Halloween lights with different Halloween figures on them. And I had those strung up around the room. And so they just kind of blended into the decor until somebody had to kind of put 2 and 2 together and figure out that they were actually part of a puzzle. So at some point in the game, they got this card and they saw that it was skulls, spiders, and pumpkins. And so they had to figure out what that meant, what you could do with the skull, spider, and pumpkins. At some point, they realized that the lights had, some of them had skulls on them, some had pumpkins, and some had spiders. And so what they had to do is they had to count each of those and then come up with a 3-digit number. And so the strings probably came with 10 each, 10 skulls or 10 pumpkins or 10 whatever. I got them from a dollar store. And I would just take off the ones that I didn't want. So I would just create just enough to make the puzzle that I needed or that I wanted in the room. And that was a fairly simple one that we had in that room. People liked that one because it was right in their face and they didn't even know it until they figured it out. The second example comes from a Christmas room that I did more recently. And so in this Christmas game, there was a tablet that they had to unlock. And I had set this tablet to unlock to a pattern instead of a number. I thought that would be a little different. You could tie numbers to letters or letters to numbers, but just to have a different kind of puzzle, I used a pattern. And so I set the pattern to a particular symbol. In this case, it was kind of like a swirly. And I took strings of holiday lights, just plain Christmas tree lights. And I think it was like an extra large one. And so it was probably about 30 feet long if you stretched it all out. But I took those and I used thumbtacks or command hooks, and I put the nine spots that the pattern would have, a grid of 3x3, and I wrapped the lights around in the shape of the tablet. And so sometimes the players would find the tablet first, and then they would spot the lights, and it took them a minute to figure out that it was in a 3x3 grid. It gave them a pattern, and they used the pattern to open the tablet. But usually, most of the time, they found that they got into the room and saw the lights first and didn't know what to do with it. It was very noticeable on the wall, but they didn't know what to do with it until they got the tablet, and then they had to figure that out too. So it was a fun puzzle. It wasn't, super easy to solve, but it was one that was right there in their face and they didn't even know it because I used lights. So there's your 2 ways that I have used lights in the DIY escape room. If you are enjoying our 31 days of puzzles for your DIY escape room, consider subscribing to our channel so you can get notifications of upcoming videos.